Greetings friends, blues fans, back for another installment. Here's a little rhythm guitar thing that I've been thinking about this week, and a rhythm suggestion. That vamp that you just heard me playing over was just 1 going to 5 and then 5 back to 1 in the key of E, right? So it's an E chord going to B7. What I was trying to emphasize while I was playing along is that I'm not playing on beat 1 of the measure, okay? Which is a really nice effect. In my little crude play along on my looper pedal, I played a bass line, just on the guitar, and then kind of an arpeggiated sort of piano line it's sort of reminiscent of maybe what New Orleans kind of piano style might be. This. Okay, so anyway, we don't have the drums, but on that type of groove, syncopation is really the key. And you have the bass player laying down heavy on beat 1. You got 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Then you got the piano player playing, and oftentimes the piano player is doubling that bass line in the left hand, right? And then playing that arpeggiated thing in the right hand, right? So there's a lot of emphasis on 1, okay? So what makes our groove feel more buoyant, right? Or swinging, or whatever you want to term you want to use, is syncopation. And a good way to start with syncopation is don't play on the 1 chord if you're coming up with your rhythmic part, okay? So in that opening segment, I was playing really what is like an E6 chord, right? I have E, G sharp, C sharp, E, okay? It almost looks like I'm playing a C sharp minor chord, but I've moved the root over here to E, okay? I think I probably wasn't even playing the bass note. I probably was just muting the strings and going. When I went to the 5 chord, I played the inside of this 5 chord, okay? Bass is right here. But what I want to draw your attention to is where I'm actually playing. So if the tempo was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, let's hear that in the context of my little play along. Ready? More time. Nice idea. Simple, buoyant, but I'm not getting in the way of the downbeat. And again, it would sound a lot more complex if we heard the drums going on. Okay. The second idea I had in that opening jam was playing the intervals of sixths. Okay, which is a pretty common thing on the guitar. Right, we've all heard that idea, and countless guitar players, both in instructional videos or whatever, live, employ this technique, and it's a really great sort of melodic technique, especially when you're playing with a piano player. So in that second example, what I played was basically just the fifth and the third of E, and then I walked it down to the fourth and second of an E chord, and then the third and the root. So, right? Then when we went to 5, I went, add a little dissonance there, which is kind of fun, little a la Bill Frisell. So I'm really only playing 2 notes on the 4th string, but I'm playing 3 on the 2nd string. And then the last idea that I used was thirds. And this sort of reminds me of like border music or conjunto music down here in Texas, where I'm just playing intervals of thirds. So I started out on the 3rd and the 5th of E. I think I played something like, and then when it went to the 5 chord, I went, right, which was root of B flat, basically B flat, and I'm sorry, not B flat, B, D sharp, down to A and C sharp. Right? And then I might have done something where I went up to the B chord here, where I've got like the 3rd and the 5th of B. Anyway, really cool idea. So just to recap these 2 ideas, recap the 3 ideas. The thing that they share is that I was making a very specific effort to not start my idea on beat 1, right? And that gives some rhythmic interest to the overall sound, which is really cool, okay? But the 3 individual ideas, I think, are also important to point out that, like, oftentimes playing with another guitar player or playing with a keyboard player, it's tricky to find a space for you to play in, right? Not playing on the 1 is a good idea. Playing maybe in the middle of the guitar, not such full chords, right? In that first example, I'm playing 3 notes, right? 3-note chords. In the second example, I'm playing 2 notes at a time, and it's more of a melodic idea as opposed to, like, strumming chords, right? Right. The third idea is the same as the second, it's just I'm using a different set of intervals, right? Anyway, all these are really great. One thing I would caution you is if you're gonna play like a melody behind the vocals or behind a solo, like if you're trying to find a part like that, then I think it's a good idea to keep things really simple, right? Simple little 3-note melody ideas on a chord is nice. You don't want to get too busy and distract from what's going on, either like the vocals or another soloist. Anyway, spend a little time playing some rhythm guitar, for God's sakes. We really need it, as a genre, and instrumentalist guitar players. I know we love to solo, but really, if we're out on the gig, the majority of our time is spent, playing accompaniment, right, and backing other people up. And you're more likely to get the gig if you make other people sound good, right? Anyway, if you have any questions, just put it in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you can. That helps the channel. And hope you guys have a great weekend. Okay.